Hi students, welcome to yet another session of my class. We are discussing poem Nods Towards a Poem That Can Never Be Written by Margaret Atwood. Let us discuss the meaning and explanation of the poem Nods Towards a Poem That Can Never Be Written. Let us start. First of all, I read the lines, then I will explain you. We all know that this Margaret Atwood, she is a famous, prolific Canadian writer, and she uses poetry as a weapon to express the denied human rights. In the introductory part itself, I told you that she was uh, closely associated with the one international organization, that is Amnesty International Organization, and their main objective is to protect human rights. So she considers or she uses poetry as a weapon to express the denied human rights, etc. And especially in her poetry collection named True Stories. And our poem, that is Nods Towards a Poem That Can Never Be Written, that is later published in that collection, True Stories. Then, first of all, I read the lines and I will explain you. This is the place you would rather not know about. This is the place that will inhabit you. This is the place you cannot imagine. This is the place that will finally defeat you. Where the word why shrivels and empties itself, this is famine. Yes. Here in this particular poem, she expresses the lack of freedom for expression of thoughts and sufferings, especially in a land dominated by a powerful regime, and also highlights the plight of women writers. And they were silenced by or suppressed by the patriarchal and colonized scenario. Moreover, this poem is discussing the tortures they have gone through, a human rights violation, as well as other traumas to the female body. This is the background of this particular poem. That is express what? The lack of freedom of thoughts and sufferings. Sufferings in a land where that dominated by a powerful regime, and also highlights the condition or the plight of women writers who were suppressed and oppressed by the patriarchal and colonized scenario. And moreover, this through this poetry, she is trying to express the tortures they have gone through and the human rights violations, as well as other traumas to the female body. She starts her poem by describing her own motherland, that is Canada. This is the place, her place in the sense that Canada. So, to some extent, we can say that, yes, to some extent, we can say that the title of the poem, Nods Towards a Poem That Can Never Be Written, itself seems to be a pessimistic one. That is, we felt or we feel a pessimistic tone in the title of this particular poem. But on a contrary level, it is written by attitude that speaks for all. Yes, here with the, in this particular point, she is speaking for all who suffers due to oppression and suppression, and for the women writers confined beyond the geographical boundaries. Actually, she is speaking for the whole humanity, all people who are suffering due to oppression and suppression, and also for women writers who confined beyond the geographical boundaries. And this is the place you would rather not know about. Yes, she's the speaker here is speaking to the readers. That is, this is the place. This is the place here. This is her own motherland, Canada. You would rather not know about. You would not know about this land. This is the place that will inhabit you. Yes. Here, there are so many human so many human beings and citizens are there, but they are not living like citizens with all equal rights. They are living just like human minds only. This is the place that will inhabit you. This is the place you cannot imagine. This is the place that will finally defeat you, where the word why shrivels and empties. That why is here in italics. That means that is everything, each and everything that is oppressed or suppressed by the dictatorial or the military regime. That is the word why shrivels and empties, because the word why is prohibited in that country. You cannot imagine that. Here, the citizens are living in this country like mere human minds. They have no right to express their feelings. They have no right to express their thoughts. And when they think about why this happened to them, that why is prohibited in this that country, that is, people have no right or no freedom to express themselves, why this happened or what is going on in their country. So the word why shrivels, that word why itself is prohibited. That shrivels and empties itself. This is famine. Your famine is used both in a literally and physical level. That is, people were oppressed, that is literally, and as well as mentally, physically, and moreover, their condition is compared to a famine stricken place. We know well about a famine stricken place or a place that suffered or faced drought, etc. Here also, these people experience the same realities like a famine stricken land. And being a humanist, in her poem, she encourages poets to write, express their thoughts, and fight against injustice at any cost with courage, as the poem has an optimistic tone. The poem itself has an optimistic tone, but the title, it yes, we feel like a pessimistic one. But throughout the poem, she is asking us to express our feelings. There is no poem you can write about it. The sandpits where so many were buried and unearthed, the unenterable pain still traced on their skins. This did not happen last year or 40 years ago, but last week. This has been happening. This happens, yes. Here, poet describes the condition that is existing in her own land as well as in the Latin America or other countries, etc. There is no poem you can write. That is, you are not allowed to write or express freely anything. The sandpits where so many were buried, that is, one who raised their voice or one who questioned the authorities, they were killed, brutally tortured, and they were buried in the sandpits and the unearthed. The unenterable pain still traced on their skins. They suffered a lot, and we can trace the unenterable pain or violence they, yes, suffered, or we can trace that on their skins. This did not happen last year. She is claiming that this did not happen, these incidents or these atrocities that did not happen last year or 40 years ago, but it has happened just last week. This has been happening, this happens, this is the present condition of my motherland. So here, with the help of this particular poem, she is trying to express that suppression, oppression, and the colonized scenario, colonization. We make wreaths of adjectives for them. We count them like beads. We turn them into statics and litanies and into poems like this one. Nothing works, they remind what they are. So these lines she expressed along with the condition of the Canada, she also expresses other military dictatorialship or the regime that has existed or that had existed during 1980s in Latin America, etc. We make wreaths of adjectives for them. Yes. We make reads of adjectives. That means you should write poem. All should write poems. All should express their feelings or your voice, their thoughts freely. You should write poems. We make reads of. We should uh, pay tribute to these people who are buried because of writing poems. And we make reads of adjectives for them. Adjectives here in the sense means we should write poems. We count them like beads, that we count these people or their words or their life. We count them like beads or precious pearls or something like that. And we turn them into statics and litanies. We should give life to people. These people in the means that died, that the people who died because of that violence or oppression, etc. We turn them into statics and litanies. That means we give life to these people through our writings. We should write about them. We turn them into statics and litanies. We should pay tribute to these people through our writings. They lost their life for raising their voice or expressing their feelings through their writings. So we should pay tribute to them through our writings. We turn them into statics and litanies and into poems like this one. All things, that poetry itself is a documentation. So all things should be documented through poems. They should relive through our poems or our words or our voices. Nothing works. They remain what they are. The woman lies on the wet cement floor under the unending light. Here Atwood vividly expresses a woman poet's sufferings through the lines. Woman, a woman lies on the wet cement floor under the unending light. Needle marks on her arms put there to kill the brain. That is, here through these lines, she is expressing the brutal atrocities or the violence that inflicted on a woman writer. And we can trace that patriarchy. That is the one who, yes, the patriarchal notion that dominated the society, that women writers, they have no right to express their feelings freely in this land. The woman lies on the west cement floor under unending light, needle marks on her arms. The patriarchal society, as well as the power or the military dictatorialship, that regime, they all suppressed or oppressed these women writers in those countries, in Canada, Latin America, etc. So here she expressed that condition of a woman writer. Needle marks on her arms put there to kill the brain, and wonders why she is dying. Yes, she wonders why she is dying. What is the crime she committed? Actually, she is writing one poem, or she expresses her feelings or thoughts freely to the world. That is the crime she has committed. And wonders why she is dying. She is dying because she said she is dying for the sake of the word. Yes, she is dying for writing one poem or express her thoughts freely through her writings. She is dying for the sake of the word. It is her body, silent and fingerless, writing this poem. Yes. And here she is dying because she says she is dying for the sake of word, and just because she has tried to unfold the trauma of humans with a stripped off rights for speech is brutally treated. And this shows the violence against the innocents by the upper hands, especially towards the women writers. And also we can get the notion that these innocent people were oppressed by the upper hands that hit hard the people speaking on the oppressors' hypocrisy. So these are the condition, that is the condition that that is existing in her own motherland as well as in Latin America. That is, and moreover, in the previous stanza, with the help of that lines, she is trying to mention one military, one civil war, Savalonian civil war. She is mentioned indirectly here. That is, in the introductory part itself, we get a notion, we get an idea that in a festival named Portland Festival in Oregon, this our poet Margaret Atwood, she met her friend Carolyn Forte. And this Carolyn Forte was an American poet. And they met at the Portland Festival in Oregon. And this Forte told some realities about the condition that is existing in her own country, that is Latin America, as well as some other things that is existing in other countries. And the conversation between Atwood and Forte, and during that particular time, that is in that Portland Festival in Oregon, at that time, there was a civil war broke out at that background of that parade, that is Avalonian Civil War. And this Caroline Forche mentioned the atrocities or the brutalities of that condition to Margaret Atwood, and she was highly influenced by the uh, conversation of or the things that Caroline Forche revealed to her. And here in these lines, that is in the second stanza, she indirectly mentioned that Savalonian civil war or the condition of the people. These innocent people, they were brutally suppressed or oppressed by these upper hands as well as the uh, people who are in the power, that is military dictatorship or regime, etc. So these are the things that she discussed in these three stanzas. I think all of you understand these three stanzas, and there is a homework for you, and the homework is write a critical note on the first three stanzas of the poem, notes towards a poem that can never be written. Write your homework and send back to me. Thank you. Have a nice day. See you again.